extraordinary happened here.
Crashed, hold it, into the World Trade Center.
You're kidding! It's actually Tower 1. A 737 jet has crashed into it, floors 78 and above.
Another plane just hit.
Another plane has just flown into the World Trade Center.
So it's a terrorist attack.
We're just getting all the facts together.
Some report of an explosion at the Pentagon?
Oh my God.
No.
Are you being serious?
The Pentagon is in flames?
One of the towers of the World Trade Center has completely collapsed.
Let's cut right to the chase. One of the twin towers is falling.
We've got a simulcast from one of our news stations if we want to go live to that right now.
Yes, a gigantic rumble folded in on itself and collapsed in a huge plume of smoke and dust.
Police have been saying that they're now evacuating all of Lower Manhattan.
It collapsed right now, as you can see. I assume you're taking
a massive rescue effort that's going on right now. We're trying to evacuate thousands and thousands of people.
In a matter of horrible minutes, the all-consuming machine of American popular culture, the 24-hour-a-day, $70 billion a year, 500-channel behemoth, the endless parade of has-been celebrities and their lurid doings, the sleazy sex scandals, the tormented rock stars, the non-stop bling, 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 all of this suddenly simply stopped. For the first time since the 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor that plummeted America into World War II, the nation's piddling pop culture obsessions were instantly evaporated by reality. At 3 p.m. on September 11th, MTV switched off its regular programming and tapped into the continuous feed of horrific news pouring out of its sister network, CBS.
Just inconceivably, one of the huge twin towers began to collapse from the top.
Networks swept aside their regular programming. Broadway plays went dark. Stadiums sat empty as both concerts and sporting events, including all Major League Baseball and NFL games, were canceled.
Entertainment in general had just gone on a macabre sort of holiday. It stopped. And with that came these hyperbolic predictions that it was going to stop forever. People made statements like, this changes everything.
The innocence is over. I think things have changed forever.
Walking over the 59th Street Bridge and not seeing the Twin Towers no more. I don't care how gangster anybody think they are. That can shit, have your whole stomach wild.
It's so crazy right now. Everything's different. My whole life's different. The whole world's different.
In one hideous instant, all of our culture came into question. Some extremist commentators even put the blame for the attacks on America itself.
I really believe that the pagans and the abortionists and the feminists and the gays and the lesbians, all of them who tried to secularize America, I point the finger in their face and say, you helped this happen.
In Manhattan, angry vandals lashed out at an icon of the country's trivial pursuits, defacing posters for Britney Spears' upcoming HBO concert.
There was a sense watching this horrible explosions it all seemed to take from popular culture, the Jerry Bruckheimer explosion-driven special effects, and throw it back in our faces. It was like popular culture itself had turned on us. We were paying the price now. This is, you think this is funny, you think this is entertainment, check this out. And I think it's a natural reaction just to feel stunned and yeah, guilty, like ashamed in some way. And the more frivolous, the more ridiculous you see something in the face of catastrophe and death and suffering and true heroism, it's going to look something worse than silly. It's going to look sort of shameful.
But was America's glittery showbiz culture with its worldwide reach really a justifiable target for fun-phobic foreign fundamentalists? Even those who may have briefly harbored that thought soon came to reconsider.
All of a sudden, one began to realize that the very accusations that we ourselves often make against our culture, promiscuous, too sexy, amoral, corrupting our kids with too much violence and sex, is suddenly the same argument that the terrorists seem to be making.
Indeed, in a chilling suicide note, lead terrorist Mohammed Atta appeared to refer directly to the highly exportable American popular culture that has blanketed the globe. Atta wrote, "The time of fun and waste has gone. The time of judgment has arrived."
And it was curious to see how that worked out. One way it worked out was all of a sudden, American officialdom quit beefing about American entertainment.
It is my hope that in the months and years ahead, life will return almost to normal. We'll go back to our lives and routines, and that is good.
All of a sudden, it was go to a Broadway show.
Come to Broadway, and let's go on with the show.
Watch television like usual. Suddenly, WWF wrestling was not the thing that was ending civilization as we knew it. WWF wrestling was tantamount to a patriotic act, and watching it the same way.
When it began to filter back, America's reviled entertainment industry seemed to have been transformed, and we began one of the most surreal months in the history of our popular culture. MTV did start airing videos again.
I'm Dan Rather in New York.
But programming them in a new spirit of national uplift. Meanwhile, Clear Channel, the country's largest radio chain, hastily slapped together a list of more than 150 songs that its affiliates were urged not to play.
Walk like an Egyptian.
I thought it was ridiculous. Censorship, that kind of censorship, when you're looking at so closely and scrutinizing things to that degree in an open democracy, come on.
Among the many songs pulled, perhaps understandably in this case, was the Drowning Pool hit Bodies. A song about mosh pits, not terrorist victims falling from the Twin Towers. As the late Dave Williams explained earlier this year,
I don't think it was unfair. I think we completely understood the reasoning behind it. Instead of coming down to being a responsible musician, I think it came down to being a responsible American.
Whatever, they don't play some stupid song for 5 minutes. I mean, you know, you could say it was censorship or whatever, but I mean, you got a whole country that's in a state of shock.
And it's just been a hell of a week here in New York, and of course, all over the country and all over the world for that matter.
By Friday, September 14th, TRL had returned to the air, although without all the screaming fans and without music either.
We didn't know where we stood. Should we be on the air? Could we be on the air was a big question, especially a show like TRL that is a daily afternoon over-celebration of all things pop culture.
Virginia had just a horrible Tuesday. Tell us about what you saw.
I witnessed the whole thing. I broke down. I was like, this is not happening. Everyone was outside, and it's just this panic, and before you know it, the first building just collapsed.
It seemed like one of the few things that people were able to get some sort of sense of comfort from was solidarity, community, you know, camaraderie.
I'm joined on the phone by our friend Moby. Moby, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
So I called into TRL just to, you know, say words of hopefulness and encouragement to other people.
Where is music on Moby's list of priorities at the moment?
Music and friends are the only things that have gotten me through this.
By the weekend, many Americans were determined to take back their lives.
We're all cooped up in our apartments watching it on TV, and it's kind of becoming numb to it. And at one point, I remember, it was like the day after, I went outside. I had to turn off my TV and walk outside and look down the street.
In a flight to blank out the week's disasters, if only for a few hours, American moviegoers drove box office receipts up nearly 40% over the same weekend the previous year, making a very unexpected hit out of the Keanu Reeves Little League film Hardball.
What's up, Kofi? You scared of the ball?
I think that had to do with the nation being in shock, because why else would that movie be a hit?
Yeah, okay,
I got it. I went to see Glitter. It was good to laugh again. And I remember going up past the barricades to actually get to the theater. And it was really crowded. And the minute it began, everybody knew it was a bomb. Waves of laughter would sweep through the audience. It was kind of fun to be with a group of people that weren't thinking about, you know, the television and the news and 911 at all.
That Saturday, the networks got back to entertainment programming, commercials and all.
I don't know that any American was ever so comforted to see toothpaste or feminine hygiene products being sold before on television, because there was a sense that when you saw a commercial that maybe life was going to get back to normal.
Conspicuously deleted, though, were all images of the now fallen World Trade Center towers.
Ooh.
And the terrorist themes that are a staple of TV action shows.
What wasn't appropriate were images that people might be sensitive to. Buildings blowing up. Big no-no. Airplanes blowing up. Absolutely not. There was an episode of Friends that they had to yank because there was a whole scene in it in which Monica and Chandler get held up at a security desk. Nobody wanted to see a security desk screwing anything up.
I think what our writers felt was that this is an escape.
Even our most satirical TV shows dropped their usual snark factor to deal with the tragedies. The man who managed to do it first went on the air at 11:30 on the night of Monday, September 17th, 6 days after the attacks.
Everybody's looking to him, and nobody knows what to expect. Is it okay to laugh again? Are we supposed to be miserable for the next 6 months? What was this guy going to do? And it really was an incredible moment in television.
We're told that they were zealots fueled by religious fervor. And if you live to be 1,000 years old, will that make any sense to you? Will that make any goddamn sense?
His sentiments, the way he expressed it that night, seemingly just summed it up perfectly for all broadcasters and all people that were attempting to do a show. And that was the most moving thing to me.
But I'll tell you this, if they could go down to ground zero here in Lower Manhattan, and you referred to it earlier, and see the following, see those firemen? Take us for a minute, will you?
For these people to be real with us and to just experience these human emotions, I think makes it more bearable for everybody.
Well, I can finish.
No, Dan, take care of yourself. We'll be right back here with Dan Rather.
That formula became the genre of first episode after major national disaster of a late-night talk show comedy, and they all virtually did it identically to how Letterman did it.
A lot of folks have asked me, what are you going to do when you get back? What are you going to say? I mean, not geez, what a terrible thing to have to do, and I don't see it as a burden at all. I see it as a privilege, and I see it as a privilege, and everyone here does.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani.
I don't know how or whether it translated on TV or not, but the enormity of broadcasting live, it was so palpable in the studio.
Can we be funny? Why start now?
There seemed to be greater meaning in just about everything Americans had taken for granted before the attacks.
And it's hit deep to left center. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza!
We may be able to offer some kind of distraction to the sadness that's going on.
After a period of time, we get back to our way of life, and I just want to try and do my part in helping get our football team ready to take their minds off of their pain.
All right, now it's our turn to help.
Hollywood came through too, with an army of stars banding together for an unprecedented fundraising telethon that also served as a national catharsis. Commercial concerns were put aside for the event too, as the tribute to heroes was broadcast uninterrupted on all of the nation's networks simultaneously.
Now is the time for all of us to take action and do our part.
The networks cooperating with each other sends out a message that it's possible to have goodness not be totally programmed to death and totally advertised to death and totally marketed. I mean, there was a moment in time there where everybody said, this is what we're doing and we don't care what it takes, and people pulled together and did something that was above the norm.
On the music front, patriotic records that had done duty during the Gulf War a decade earlier climbed the pop charts once again.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And songs and videos created before the terrorists struck suddenly took on whole new meanings.
It's been interesting for me, like, since the events of September 11th, the way people have been playing hero.
I can be your hero, baby.
In the beginning, it was kind of strange because that's not what I wrote the song for. But at the end, I said, you know what? If it makes people feel better and it's something positive, then good. It's a love song, you know, and this might sound kind of corny, but I think what we need now is love, you know, more than ever.
Just like people take whatever big love song there is to apply to them and their 15-year-old crush that abandoned them or something. That's sort of what pop songs are there for.